Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas G. Now, what's going on in the mind of the voter in Uttar Pradesh? With over 3 months to go for polls in India's most populous state, Times Now made an attempt with Pollstra to try and find out. Now, while we have brought you the numbers, what really is the thought process? What really are the questions that are going on in the minds of the voters of Uttar Pradesh, and what really are they likely to vote on? We're going to give you a sense of that. Before we get into the qualitative questions that we have asked in our survey, let's quickly take you through the numbers that we've put out at 8 o'clock, just to give you a sense of which way things are, at least at the moment, believed to be headed. Now, this is in fact the pure numbers that we're talking about. This is vote share. BJP at 42.5%, SP at 30.80%, BSP at 12.80%, Congress is at 9.1%, and others are at 4.8%. This is as far as vote share is concerned. The margin of error given over there is plus minus 5%. We're looking at now the total numbers regionally. This is Awadh. BJP at 69 to 72, SP at 23 to 26, BSP at 7 to 10, Congress is 0 to 1, others at 0. The takeaway here is that the Ram Mandir card has helped BJP consolidate votes and limit the opposition. Let's move on to the next region that we are looking at, which is Bundelkhand. The numbers in Bundelkhand are like this. BJP is still in pole position at 42.80%, SP at 33.30%, BSP at 12.10%, Congress at 8.10%, others at 3.70%. Takeaway from here is that voters over here are prepared to give Yogi's infrastructure push time to fructify. Moving on to the next region in Uttar Pradesh, this is Doab plus Western UP, and this is of course the numbers as they currently stand. BJP slightly less in terms of numbers at 40.90%. SP gets a major leg up here at 36.60%, along with the help ostensibly of its alliance partner, the RLD. The BSP is at 10.10% over here. Congress over here sees a sharp rise in its fortunes, but still only in single digits at 7.80%. Others at 4.60%. Somewhere or the other, the opposition to the farm laws, the protests that have taken place, are going to give a leg up to the Jat votes as well as that of RLD. Now, this is as far as Purvanchal is concerned. This is the Rajbhar factor that helps Akhilesh make a comeback in the SP. All right, this is, sorry, I beg your pardon, this is Purvanchal that we're talking about. Yeah, Purvanchal, these are the numbers. At 39.40% is the BJP, SP at 36.90%, the BSP at 12.50%, Congress at 7.90%, others at 3.30%. So SP, despite a sharp rise, this is where we see the BJP go below that important mark of below 40%. The SP has sharply risen, but despite the Rajbhar factor, that has not been enough. Now, this is as far as Purvanchal is concerned. In the actual numbers, we're looking at 47 to 50 is the total number of seats. The SP at 31 to 35, the BSP at 11 to 13 in terms of seats. The Congress is at 1 to 2. This is as far as Purvanchal is concerned, and this is of course the Rajbhar factor that is actually helping. In Paschim Uttar Pradesh, the BJP at 41.80%. This is the vote share. The SP at 32%, the BSP at 16.30%, Congress at 5.10%, others at 4.80%. This is of course the actual vote share. The seat share, if we are talking about over here, as per the survey, is at 40 to 42 for the BJP, SP at 21 to 24, BSP 2 to 3, Congress 1 to 2, and others at 0. As we already said, that this is an indication of the opposition to the farm laws. Rohilkhand is the next region we're going to be talking about. In percentage terms, BJP at 39.1%, SP at 38.4%, BSP at 11.10%, Congress at 7.10%, others at 4.30%. The Muslim vote propping up the Samajwadi Party, BJP's Sabka Saath on test over here. This is how the seats actually come out in Rohilkhand. BJP at 31 to 33, SP at 18 to 21, BSP at 2 to 3, Congress 0 to 1, others at 1. This is as far as the regional wise numbers are concerned. Now let's take a look at the consolidated numbers for the state of Uttar Pradesh. This is the vote share first. The BJP at 41.9%, the SP at 33.1%, BSP at 12.4%, Congress at 7.9%, others at 4.7%. This is of course the BJP in terms of vote share is at the highest number at the moment. Now, this is the C share. This is the number that it ultimately boils down to. The BJP, as per the survey, is at 239 to 245. The SP at 119 to 125. The BSP between 28 to 32. Congress 5 to 8. Others 0 to 1. So this is, of course, as far as the BJP is concerned, clearly at this point of time, reduced numbers from the last election, but clearly at the moment in the poll position, far ahead of others, a comfortable majority over here of over 25 to 30 seats that is seen as far as this aspect is concerned. So what did we also do? We also went on and asked the voters these questions, and we are going to be breaking down to you these numbers that we are putting out. The first number that we're discussing at the moment is that, do you support Yogi's encounter formula to tackle Bahubalis and mafias? The numbers that we have for this is yes, 63.7% supports the manner that has been used to tackle the law and order problems. Remember, there have been a number of controversies surrounding law and order issues, from Vikas Dubey to several such shootouts of the Apple techies, so on and so forth. But there is an overwhelming support, 63.7% versus 36.3% who said no to this one very important question. Moving on, in fact, let's go across to our guests. We have a guest joining us, and let me quickly introduce them. With us is GVL Narasimha Rao, Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson of the BJP. Also joining us is Shiv Sehgal, who is the Director of Poststrat, who conducted this particular survey. Vivek Silas is National Spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Waris Pathan is National Spokesperson of the AIMIM. Sarjan Singh is member of the BSP Legal Cell. Dushan Nagar, political analyst, is with us. And also joining us over here is our news editor, Birendra Chaudhary, with us right here in our studio. I'll come across to each of you persons in just a minute. Let me first go across to GVL Narasimha Rao. GVL, are you surprised at all with these numbers? And what is very, very significant is that this appears to be a huge thumbs up as far as the Yogi government, and some would say pretty controversial track record in dealing with law and order. But somewhere, at least as this survey is to be believed, it seems to have struck a chord amongst voters.
Yeah, Madhav, good evening to you and all the viewers. The results are not at all surprising. You go even a few hours, a few minutes from your office in Noida, go to any part of Uttar Pradesh and ask people of Uttar Pradesh, they would tell you that governance in the last 5 years, and particularly the law and order in the state has transformed. The Samajwadi Party rule that preceded our government was widely known in popular parlance as Gunda Raj, where Gundas held sway in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Today, in the last 5 years, Gunda Mukt, Shashan Yukt Sarkar is what Yogi ji has given. So certainly the people of the state have not only witnessed all-round development in Uttar Pradesh, they have seen a transformational improvement as far as law and order situation in the state is concerned. And it doesn't require, certainly I completely support the findings of the survey, but even a cursory examination of the issue going to any part of the state would ratify your findings.
Let's get in the SP on that. Vivek Silas, GVL Narasimha Rao says there's nothing surprising on this. The track record of the state government in tackling with law and order issues is very well known. The people's sentiment is very well known. Your response to this, sir?
Yes, I can just say, as far as your predictions are concerned, don't want to comment on that, but right now you said that the margin of error is 5+ to 5-. That is what you said in your report. But as far as Uttar Pradesh is concerned, we have the most unemployed youth in Uttar Pradesh. What the promises that were made by the Bharatiya Janata Party has not been fulfilled at years, be it 1 trillion economy, be it the cleanliness of the Ganges, be it 70 lakhs employment, and there are many other things, bullet trains, smart cities. Nothing has been done so far, and that is the cause. Inflation is a big issue at the moment.
Okay, we'll get into those issues, sir. All of those issues are covered in this particular survey that we have done. Before I get into the next set of questions, I want to quickly get into a set of numbers from Birendra Chaudhary, our senior news editor, who's been really crunching the numbers, because he has the data as per the gender, as per the caste, as per the religious breakdown, and also very interestingly the age breakdown. Birendra Chaudhary ji, हमारे दर्शकों को आप ये बताइए कि अगर हम इसे संक्षिप्त में एनालाइज करें तो क्या जब हम इसे ब्रेकडाउन करते हैं जेंडर, एज और कम्युनिटीज के रूप में क्या कुछ अलग रिजल्ट्स हमें मिलते हैं?
देखिए, सवाल है कि डू यू सपोर्ट योगीज इनकाउंटर फॉर्मूला टू टैकल बाहुबलीज एंड माफियाज? तो ब्रॉडली जैसा आपने कहा कि 63.7% लोगों का कहना है यस में, और उसमें यदि आप देखें तो 64% पुरुष कह रहे हैं बिल्कुल सही है, फीमेल 63% है, और जो दूसरा सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है जिसके बारे में मीडिया में काफी खबरें छापी जाती है कि मुस्लिम इनके इस पॉलिसी का विरोध करते हैं, नहीं। दलित 55% कह रहा है ये सही है, ओबीसी 63% कह रहा है सही है, अपर कास्ट 76% कह रहा है सही है। उसी प्रकार मुस्लिम आबादी भी तकरीबन 58% कह रही है कि योगी जी का यह फॉर्मूला 100% सही है।
All right, that's a very interesting way of looking at it as well. What we are told otherwise, perhaps this survey has thrown up some surprising numbers. But let's quickly get into the other questions that we have before we take this debate further. Some more questions that we have put out in this particular poll to our to those who were in fact surveyed is Yogi government's defense of CAA as an act of promoting communalism. Yes says 49.10%, no says 50.90%. This is also very interesting because it's almost evenly poised. Let's go across to the next question that we have as part of our survey. And in fact, the next question is this: is Yogi government's anti-conversion law an act of promoting communalism? Yes is 45.20%, no says 54.80%. So two very, very important points over here that are being addressed: CAA and in fact the anti-conversion law. According to you, is the Samajwadi Party, what is its priority? Muslims over Hindus, Hindus over Muslims? Neither. In fact, about 44.9% have said Muslims over Hindus. There's a similar question for the BJP as well. We'll be getting to that particular question as well. But let me quickly take this across to our viewers. Biren Chaudhary ji, in fact, is also with us. Biren Chaudhary, जो सबसे पहला सवाल है, सबसे अहम सवाल है CAA का और कम्युनल पॉलिटिक्स का, इनमें क्या किस तरह के रिस्पॉन्सेज आए हैं इस सर्वे में, हमें संक्षिप्त में बताएं।
देखिए, सवाल है कि इज द योगी गवर्नमेंट्स ब्रिंगिंग ऑफ द एंटी कन्वर्जन लॉ एन एक्ट ऑफ प्रमोटिंग कम्युनलिज्म? मेल 54% कह रहा है नहीं, फीमेल तकरीबन 56% कह रहे हैं कि नहीं, और यदि हम सोशल ग्रुप देखें तो उसमें दलित 53% कह रहा नहीं, ये गलत है, ऐसा नहीं है। ओबीसी 55% निगेट कर रही है, अपर कास्ट 67% कह रहा नहीं, ये गलत है। मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन पे हम आते हैं, यहां पर इंटरेस्टिंग डेटा है कि 82.70% मुस्लिम कह रहे हैं कि ये गलत है। यानी एंटी कन्वर्जन लॉ एन एक्ट ऑफ प्रमोटिंग कम्युनलिज्म।
Okay. Let's take this across. Let's take this across, in fact, to our other guests who are with us. Waris Pathan is with us. He's the national spokesperson of the AIMM. Waris Pathan, how do you look at this? Because when it comes to such very important issues, when it comes to the government's own performance and whether it has actually acted in a communal nature, the electorate, at least as far as this particular survey is concerned, seems to be completely divided. Waris Pathan.
Well, Madhav, let me tell you first and foremost, since day one we have been saying that we are going to UP to contest elections, and we have to see that BJP is defeated, and we will see that Yogi does not become the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh again. And I am sure we will win. The reasons are because Yogi has totally failed as the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. Madhav, let me tell you, what has Yogi done in the last 5 years of his tenure as the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, except renaming the names of the cities, except using his Thok Dalunga wala policy, which just now GVL was saying that the crime rate has increased. I would ask him, show me the data. I have got the data from the Ministry of Home Affairs, which suggests that custodial deaths have increased in Yogi's regime. In last 1 year, 2021, 15 people died in police custody in Uttar Pradesh, to 450 people died in judicial custody in Uttar Pradesh. Though the Supreme Court had given guidelines that cameras should be installed, CCTV cameras, in all the police stations, but Yogi did not install because he wanted to see that his black things does not come out. That is why, and people have not forgotten Hathras.
Okay.
People have not forgotten Lakhimpur.
Well, questions on Hathras and Lakhimpur also are there. They are also there. They are also there. They are also there. Sir, those questions on Hathras and Lakhimpur are very much part of our survey. We are coming to that. We are coming to that, but somehow they have not seemed to cut much ice.
Did not. I think just 10 seconds. Just 10 seconds. Madhavdas G, and I think your reporters who took the survey did not visit the relatives of the people who have lost their lives in the second wave of COVID due to lack of oxygen, due to lack of hospital facilities. We have seen corpses floating on the river Gangas and dogs eating those corpses.
Okay.
Who was responsible for that? Yogi.
Well, those images were certainly there, but have those images actually dented the spirit of the voters as far as their own incumbent government is concerned? That's the big question that we've tried to understand through this particular survey. And I want to quickly, in fact, before I get in a response to what you have just said, get in a quick comment from Shiv Sehgal, who's the director of polls. Shiv Sehgal, quite a few surprises, many would say, that have actually been thrown up by this particular survey. Quickly, for our viewers, take us through the actual methodology, because there will be those who will question how we actually went about it, and also in terms of the actual results, what were you most surprised about? Shiv Sehgal.
So just to give everyone a brief idea, we did a survey of about 9,000 people. It was random stratified sampling, so we didn't know who was on the other side. It's done through a CATI system, which is telephonic interview, and the quantitative analysis was checked qualitatively on ground teams through focus group studies. And in terms of the margin of error, the region-wise seat share and vote share distribution, margin of error is 5%, but overall the other questions and even the overall seat share of the state and the vote share of the state is 3%. Okay. Minus plus 3%, just for clarification's sake. In terms of what came up the most is this question, particularly at the anti-conversion law, and even the last one, the Bahubalis and the mafias, is overwhelming support to the tactics deployed by the state. And secondly, in the second question, with the is it promoting communalism? It's only the Muslim community which feels, obviously, and as the law is directed towards certain communities and not dividing in the sense that on communal lines, but making something illegal in law. Okay. So that has obviously maybe misread by the people as well. So that could be an option where the government could,
maybe it has worked differently than was previously thought about. Shiv, I'd like to thank you for joining us, but let me quickly take this across to our other panelists as well. We also have with us Dushyan Nagar. Dushyan Nagar ji, हाथरस हो चाहे लखीमपुर हो, इन दो अहम सवालों पर जो रिजल्ट्स आए हैं उससे कहीं ना कहीं लगता है कि जिस तरह ऑपोजिशन ने इस इश्यूज को उठाए हैं, इम्पैक्ट उस तरह का नहीं रहा है जहां तक वोटर्स की बात हो.
देखिए, इम्पैक्ट पूरा है. आपकी तो वैसे जो सिस्टम है वो बहुत अच्छा सर्वे करता है, लेकिन मुझे लगता है पहली बार कहीं ना कहीं आपका सिस्टम चूक गया. अगर पंचायत चुनावों का परिणाम आप देखेंगे तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी को पंचायत चुनावों में कोई 26 से 27% वोट मिला है, और पंचायत चुनाव से आज तक भाजपा का ग्राफ नीचे गया है, ऊपर नहीं गया है. तो आज अगर आकलन किया जाए साधारण रूप से तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी 22 से 24% के बीच में खड़ी हुई है. ये जो आंकड़ा आप दिखा रहे हैं ये वास्तविकता से परे है.
Okay, I'm going to allow GVL a quick chance to rebut that. GVL Narasimha Rao, if you look at the recent local body elections, the Panchayat elections, the numbers of BJP would be quite different. It would be closer to 26 to 27% is what Dushyan Nagar says. How do you explain these numbers, and is there a difference in the way people vote during Panchayat elections and during assembly elections?
No, subsequently, I think we have captured most of the district panchayats. We have also done in local body elections, but the way people vote, if you for panchayat elections, gram panchayat elections don't happen on party lines. But when it comes to assembly elections, the voting pattern tends to be not just in terms of parties, but candidates also matter. In Lok Sabha elections, candidates matter significantly less, only political parties matter a lot. But whichever way you look at this election, we are headed for a major victory. Almost a repeat of 2017 is what the BJP is expecting, because we have delivered. I can give you some numbers. These are very important, Madhav. Just allow me 30 seconds. We, under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, we have given free rations to more than 14 crore people in Uttar Pradesh. Under PM Kisan, 2.43 crore beneficiaries are receiving 6,000 rupees every year under PM Kisan, and in a state where most of the farmers are small and marginal, this is a big benefit. Under PM Ujjwala Yojana, 1.47, nearly 1.5 crore people have been given free gas connections. I think these are staggering numbers. Development in 70 years, I can bet 5 years of development in the last 5 years in Uttar Pradesh, Banam, versus 70 years of development in Uttar Pradesh. This government, last 5 years, we will beat all the past records. And on top of it, clean governance, corruption-free governance, and complete end of lawlessness and end of Gunda Raj. So this is a clear recipe
but there are challenges.
For a massive
There are challenges. There are
BJP,
challenges of administration. There are challenges post-COVID as well, as many of our panelists have been observing. I'm going to come back to you on that. But before I go across to, in fact, Sajan Singh, who's a member of the BSP legal cell, let's quickly take the next set of questions and then we can get into the debate further. The next set of questions that we're putting up on the screen that you can see, according to you, the Congress party prioritizes 44.9% say Muslims over Hindus, Hindus over Muslims just 17.5%, none says 24.2%. There are 24.2% people who believe they actually treat everybody equally, can't say is 13.4%. The next question that we have also put across in this particular opinion poll is also, how do you see opposition's role in the Hathras incident? Opportunistic politics say 49.8%, and we'll be breaking this down for our viewers as well. Is this same cutting across different social groups? Pursuit of justice say 37.7%. So about 12% lesser or 13% lesser number of people who say that it is a legitimate pursuit of justice. Can't say is 12.6%. And we have one more question, if I'm not mistaken. All right, we'll get to that particular question in a bit, and that's about Lakhimpur Kheri. But this is very, very significant. हाथरस की इंसिडेंट अगर बात करें वीरेंद्र चौधरी जी, तो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, क्योंकि यहाँ पर सोशल ग्रुप्स की अगर हम देखें रिस्पॉन्सेज तो काफी फर्क आ जाता है.
देखिए, हाथरस के इशू पे इसको अपॉर्चुनिस्टिक के रूप में देखें, पहला ऑप्शन है, दूसरा है परसूट ऑफ जस्टिस और तीसरा है कांट से. तो यदि आप ब्रॉडली देखें तो फीमेल का कहना है 50-51% कि ये अपॉर्चुनिस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स है. यदि आप सोशल ग्रुप की बात करें तो ओबीसी के तकरीबन 45% लोगों का मानना है कि अपॉर्चुनिस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स है. अपर कास्ट तकरीबन 67%, और खास आंकड़ा एक और है, जो मुस्लिम आबादी है वो भी 38% मुस्लिम का मानना है कि ये अपॉर्चुनिस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स है और कुछ नहीं.
All right. And what is very interesting also is that within the Dalits, there is the largest amount of support, 45.60% who say that this is a legitimate pursuit of justice. Sajan Singh, member of the BSP, this is very important for your particular party as well, given that Dalit vote has been the backbone of support as far as BSP is concerned. Is this an issue that you think you will be able to change the mind of voters in Uttar Pradesh, particularly in pockets where Dalits may be in concentration? Because there has been a concerted effort by the BJP and other parties as well, even the SP, for instance, recently, to actually get the Dalit vote. Sajan Singh.
Yes, but before I'm saying anything about the Dalit politics and Dalit vote bank, I want to say, with due respect to the GBL, you are living in the false paradise. The way you are going to say that BJP is going to support from the all corner, it is your false paradise. As far as the BSP is concerned, you have given the vote share of the BSP to the 14 or 15% right from the beginning. When the BSP came into the power, when the BSP came into the forefront, we have been the vote percent of 22 and 23% minimum, and maximum that are up to the 30% when we are in the power in 2007. Your daughter of the Dalit is burned in the midnight by this government, and the government is going to get support from the Dalit. What they have done to the Dalit, nothing besides the atrocity like the SP government. And this UP, what is the achievement of the Yogi government? The biggest achievement of the Yogi government is the custodial rate. Biggest achievement of the UP government is the atrocity upon Dalit, price rise, unemployment, law and order situation. These are the factors which together are going to get down to the
Mr. Singh, if I can just put a simple question to you. You're correct when it comes to the you're correct when it comes to Dalits and certain other caste groups, but the total percentage, the total vote is that 49.8% as per this particular survey believe it is opportunistic politics.
Knowledge of the poll. who have some knowledge of the politics will not.
Mr. Singh, can you hear me, sir?
Where the BSP has been given only the 30 or
Mr. Singh,
yes.
Mr. Singh, can you hear me?
Yes, Father.
All right, I don't know if Mr. Singh can hear me, but I'm going to quickly take another question, in fact, who's with us. All right, Mr. Singh, if you can hear me, my simple question to you is that when it comes to the total numbers, it's quite different. When it comes to Dalits, it's rather different. All right, and this is, of course, another set of questions that we're going to be putting across. The last question is, in fact, the question relating to the Lakhimpur Kheri incident. How has that worked for opposition parties? Now, do you see the opposition's role in the Lakhimpur Kheri incident? Now, clearly, of course, the numbers are there. Opportunistic politics, once again, 49.0%, not very different from Hathras. Pursuit of justice, say 40.7%, perhaps a slightly lesser number of people who are undecided, who say can't say, because a fairly large number, 40.7% people also believe that this is a legitimate pursuit of justice, and that makes it quite interesting. Virendra Chaudhary, इसमें क्या इवन नंबर्स कह सकते हैं हम, क्योंकि 49% वर्सेस 40.7% है.
देखिए, यहां भी यदि आप आंकड़े देखें तो अपॉर्चुनिस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स का आंकड़ा मेल और फीमेल में ब्रॉडली 49-50 के रेंज में है, जिसे अपॉर्चुनिस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स कहा गया है. यदि आप सोशल ग्रुप के रूप में देखें तो दलित भी 42% इसे अपॉर्चुनिस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स मानता है, और अगेन मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन जिनकी संख्या इन्हें जस्टिस के रूप में देखती है वो है 48%, लेकिन अपॉर्चुनिस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स मानने वालों की संख्या 38% है.
राइट, सो दैट इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. दुष्यंत, अगर कहीं ना कहीं इस इशू पे ब्रॉड बेस्ड सपोर्ट लाना ऑपोजिशन के लिए बहुत चैलेंजिंग रहा है, अगर लखीमपुर खेरी की जैसी इंसिडेंट्स जो अभी रिसेंटली हुई है इसमें भी एक ग्राउंड स्वेल ऑफ सपोर्ट नहीं आ पा रहा है, तो कहीं ना कहीं क्या ऑपोजिशन की पॉलिटिक्स इस मुद्दे पर भी फेल हुई है?
देखिए, ऑपोजिशन में एकजुटता की कमी है, ये तो साफ परिलक्षित होता है. जी बोलिए. लेकिन दूसरी चीज मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि किसान वर्ग में आने वाले जो प्रमुख जातियां हैं, जैसे जाट हैं, गुर्जर हैं, यादव हैं, कुर्मी हैं, ये सभी राज्य सरकार के कामकाज से असंतुष्ट हैं. और दूसरा, जो बाहुबलियों पे लगाम लगाने वाली बातें आपके द्वारा जो आंकड़े रखे गए वो कहीं ना कहीं ठीक नहीं है. आज भी आप देखेंगे तो कानपुर में और एक अन्य जगह पे 2 जगह पुलिस हिरासत में लोगों की मौत हो गई है. तो पुलिस के साथ में जो एट्रोसिटी हो रही है आम आदमी के ऊपर, आप उसका भी आकलन करिए. उससे कितनी नाराजगी लोगों के अंदर है और उससे क्या अलोकप्रियता सरकार के सामने आने वाली है, उसका आकलन भी होना चाहिए. और जो किसानों की मौतें हुई हैं, जिस प्रकार से किसान आत्महत्या करने के लिए मजबूर है, किसान की पेमेंट नहीं हुई है, फसल का सही दाम नहीं मिला है, ये सारी चीजों का आपने शायद आकलन करने में नहीं किया है.
Okay.
उसका प्रभाव सरकार के ऊपर अवश्य पड़ेगा.
Okay. Before I go to GVL, I want a quick response from Vivek also. Vivek Silas, when it comes to issues like Hathras, when it comes to issues like Lakhimpur Kheri that have really made the headlines, that have really been, in our imagination for weeks, if not months on end, even in such issues, if the opposition has not been able to build up some kind of groundswell of support, because still the BJP appears to have the edge in such questions that are posed, because here you have people, about 49% of the people still saying that it is a form of opportunistic politics.
Madhav, you look pretty excited, but I would like to say out of 14
I'm not at all excited,
voters,
sir. I'm completely dispassionate. I'm just reading out the numbers. Please don't try and attribute any values or any emotion to me. I'm just reading out the news and doing my job. Please respond to the question, sir.
Out of 14 crore voters, your sample is for 9,000 people in the entire state. How many of them are from the cosmopolitan or metropolitan cities? How many of them are from the rural areas? You don't know about that. And there has been many surveys from the Times Group.
That's exactly why.
In Delhi, Jharkhand.
That's exactly why we have Mr. Shiv Segal here to explain the format to you.
Absolutely bogus. They all turned out to be absolutely bogus, and the result was something else. And that is a fact. That is a history now. It's a fact, and you cannot deny from that.
Okay.
You guys were making, and I'm very pretty sure what has happened in Uttar Pradesh, be it the law and order, be it the inflation problem, be it the employment problem, be it anything, atrocities on women and Dalits especially, be it even corruption. We have seen corruptions in cremation grounds. We have seen corruption in Kumbh Melas, even in Ayodhya. During the pandemic, we have seen corruption in oxygen cylinders, PPE kits, even medicines. Even woods were being sold in higher price. They were black marketed.
Okay.
People were unable to bury the near one.
Vivek Silas, since you have so much doubt about the veracity,
that would come definitely into play.
Since you have so much doubt on the veracity and the procedure, I will not have one cephalogist but two cephalogists respond to your question, because GVL in an earlier avatar was also a cephalogist. But I first want to go across to Mr. Shiv Sehgal. Mr. Shiv Sehgal, your response to what Vivek Silas is saying. He is raising questions. He's saying this is perhaps inaccurate, and he says this is perhaps has an urban skew to it, which is perhaps why the results he does not agree with in his perception. How do you respond to him, Shiv?
I mean, after doing a couple of polls, it's a normal thing to be hearing this. But overall surveys have an exaction, and the
9,000 vote sample survey.
Sir, that's how sample surveys work. Let him respond, please. You asked the question. Don't heckle him now, please. Let him respond. Give him a chance to respond at least.
No. There are 1,500 people per area, per region that we have taken, and these surveys are taken in very scientific method as well. No outside interferences there. It's one-to-one. Especially during COVID, we devised, and these are global standards that we go through. We do not employ our own methods or create our new methodologies. These are global standards that we adhere to. And we've been working with a lot of international partners as well. Okay. So, I mean, we wouldn't be able to work otherwise.
Okay. Varis wants to raise a quick question and then I'll go across to GVL. Yes, Varis Pathan.
Well, Madhav, let me make a point that the youth plays a very important role in any election. But today the youth is angry because lakhs of youths have lost their jobs in Uttar Pradesh. They are jobless. Second thing that would play a predominant role is the rising petrol, diesel, gas prices all over country, including UP. This all coupled with Hathras, the farmers, Lakhimpur, this all will take toll on the BJP, and I am sure this time it is very difficult for the BJP and this survey will not last. Other side, the Samajwadi Party is there, and they were talking about the Muslim voters. Let me tell you, the Muslims never had their vote banks. Their votes were useless. We are going there as an opportunity. We are going there because earlier they had no opportunity. They just went to vote for Samajwadi, they vote for Congress. But what did they do? In the 2012, the memorandum, Samajwadi said we will give reservation to the Muslims in job and education. They did not give. So the 20% chunk of Muslims, they are also very eager to vote for a particular party. We are there. We are going there for a political empowerment also. We want to see that the leaders are built up from our own community. We also have a right. We want our people to come forward, come in the politics, become leaders. The other thing which is going against Yogi will be the Corona second wave.
Mr. Varis Pathan, the question many will ask is what will you do for the Muslims? Because, if the Bihar is any example, you have won about 4 to 5 seats over there. You're not in a position to form a government with due respect, sir. So that's also a very valid question, isn't it, Mr. Pathan?
There is always a beginning, Madhav. There is always a beginning. We are going in UP to fight election, and we are sure that the people of Uttar Pradesh will definitely vote for us. Why only Muslims? Even not Muslims will vote for us because they want development. We have an agenda. We are going there for political empowerment.
This is for political empowerment, not for forming a government. There is a beginning somewhere, all right?
Bringing them to power.
Very interesting words. Very interesting words. I want GVL to come in on that. GVL Narasimha Rao, but nevertheless, there are some pertinent questions for the BJP as well. On the one hand, you have Vivek Silas, who says that there is huge issues pertaining to governance that people are angry about and law and order. And on the other hand, you have Varis Pathan, who says that the youth is angry on issues such as fuel prices. GVL Narasimha Rao, how do you see that impacting this election? And is that the challenge for BJP?
Madhav, I think it is principally the youth who are powering the BJP's huge surge, not only in Uttar Pradesh, in 2019 Lok Sabha polls and 2014 Lok Sabha polls. Youth are completely, for them, the communal politics of the SP, the BSP, the Congress and MIM is anathema to them. They are very averse and allergic towards the communal politics, the over communal politics that all of them play. So certainly the Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas governance of the BJP, I read out some numbers to you. I read out some numbers. These are staggering. 14 crore people getting free rations, 1.5 crore people getting free Ujjwala. These are not just Hindus, Dalits or OBCs, everyone across the board. This is the uniqueness of the BJP governance. Everyone who deserves to be helped, who deserves to be given assistance, have been assisted. Under Saubhagya Yojana in Uttar Pradesh, 80 lakh people have received. 80 lakh people have received free power connections for the first time in their lives. That's about
Sir,
4 crore
I agree to all that. What about fuel prices, sir? Will that not have any impact?
No. No, certainly no, because the state government, the central government has reduced both the petrol and diesel, and state government in turn passed on additional benefits. People understand the country and the state are passing through different economic times, and they very well appreciate. And on corona management, I think one question your survey doesn't seem to have asked, but I can tell you from my own experience and surveys, the people of Uttar Pradesh are extremely happy with the manner in which both the central and state governments have handled corona crisis.
Okay.
And the second phase of corona, despite all the challenges, we get a superlative rating.
Okay.
Now the leadership of Modi ji at the national level, Prime Minister Modi.
I'm going to come to that double engine question. I'm going to come to the double engine question because we all saw what happened in Sultanpur today. But I want a quick response to what you just said from Sajjan Singh, because he was raising questions pertaining to corona and its management. Is the corona management something that will actually win the BJP votes? Sajjan Singh.
Yes, Madhav, I'm surprised. I'm surprised why not the BJP has been given the 400 seats. And instead of that, only were given the 240 seats. This is the poll survey of 9,000. Corona will be remembered as a death knell for the BJP. Along with the price rise, fuel rise, unemployment, all these factors together will keep a death knell to the BJP, and BJP is not going to come in the power anyhow. How many poll survey they can manage? They can manage.
But will the double engine be enough? Will the double engine and its track record for development be enough? That's a very important question. That's a very important question. I want a quick closing response from GVL on that. GVL, will the double engine and promise of development be enough?
It is the aspiration of the voter which form the government.
Not delivered development. We have delivered governance with like no other government. On the technical point, let me tell our friends on the panel, I think in a country which is significantly bigger than Uttar Pradesh, United States of America, their national polls consist of a sample size as low as 800, and all of them are telephonic polls. And in India, there are challenges in conducting telephonic surveys.
Yes, we understand the challenges of sample surveys, but certainly, of course, we have put out all the statistics and the methodology for our viewers. It's completely up to them whether they choose to believe it or not. But I'd like to thank all our guests for joining us this evening. GVL Narasimha Rao, Shiv Segal, of course, Director of Polstat, Vivek Silas, Waris Pathan, Sajjan Singh, Dushan Nagar, and my colleague, Mr. Biren Chaudhary, for joining us and giving us an insight and breaking down those numbers for us. With that, it's a wrap on the show this evening.